This Philip Seymour Hoffman thing, every day there's more and more articles, and I'm wondering why. Maybe it's because people didn't realize how much they loved him, but I don't even think that he would know that he would get this kind of outpouring of heartbreak.
Like I took it for granted. Like when I went, it was on Drudge when it popped up. I went there randomly, and I immediately thought I was going to be watching this guy for another 30 years. Like, I thought I was going to see his work, like, till I'm dead. And when he fucking passes away, it killed me.
Wait, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
You honestly think you're going to live another 30 years?
I have a good feeling.
I fucking am putting my cash down now. Give me the under on the 30 fucking years.
Who's got the over, huh?
And you know what I bet?
Yeah.
Everything. I'm pushing everything in. Stocks, bonds, 401ks.
I'm going to pull this audio. I'm going to prove it to everybody.
And then I'm fucking calling everyone in my family and saying, buy anything you want. I got fucking money coming in. Well, just think if he would have even lived another 10 years, right?
Yeah.
You probably would have another 15, 18 films.
I think he had, 3 movies. Well, he was in the Hunger Games.
Ugh. I hate that he's going to be remembered for that.
He had 2 other movies coming out and a TV show. And the movie was supposed to direct.
They might have some problems with the third one because he had one more pivotal scene to film, and they're just like, how do we end this?
Good.
You know what they're going to do? Put a fat guy in a fucking weird wig.
Rob Ford is going to be.
You know what? That's fucking terrible.
They just grab Jim Gaffigan.
Oh.
Maybe do a voiceover type deal.
Oh.
Shelby, what's your problem?
They'll just say that he's a shapeshifter. They always just... Oh, and by the way, I'm a shapeshifter.
That's why I look like this. I'm the same guy.
And everybody in New York has a story about him, and it's always a nice story. Everybody I've talked to will bring up something where they just had, they ran into him on the street, and it's cool. Personally, I refuse to listen to those kinds of stories. I prefer our old school brush with greatness stories when someone met a celebrity that treated them mean.
Oh, God.
I want you guys to think about it. Howard's put together a sounder for us based on the old school.
Brush with greatness.
It's a brush with greatness. You meet a celebrity, and the celebrity does not treat you well. Fez Whatley, out of all your stories, which one are you going to go for?
I want to go with the last one because it still burns so deep in my heart.
What's that?
Warren Sapp, who I grew up loving on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was in the building. I wanted to get a football sign. Not even for myself, for the listeners.
Yeah.
I went in there. I also had a copy of his book that he was here promoting. He was in the green room. He was waiting for his interview sessions to start. I went in there. He's texting. And I said, excuse me, Warren. Now, we had Warren on the show before.
You're burying the lead. Not only was Warren Sapp on the show, you were blindfolded as a birthday present to you. Mm-hmm. He came in and played What's My Line, and when you had to guess who he was, when you took off the blindfold and guessed that it was Warren Sapp, you started crying.
I was so happy to see Warren Sapp in our studio.
You sobbed.
He hugged me. I got a big Warren Sapp hug from him as he's there for Dancing with the Stars. So I go in to get a book and a football signed in the green room, and I said, Warren, it's Fez from the Ron and Fez show. We had you on when you were promoting Dancing with the Stars. I was blindfolded. I gave him a quick recap of when I had seen him last.
Mm-hmm.
He won't look up from his texting. Not only that, not only will he not look at me or say anything to me, I see his big, giant foot in one of those sneakers that he ended up having to sell off, tapping his publicity person's foot, going back and forth to get rid of Fez, to give the signal to bounce me out of the green room. And then I get told, Warren's not able to do anything right now. Maybe later.
Well, maybe there was something important that he was texting back and forth. Maybe he was talking with his lawyer.
There was nothing that says he couldn't look up and say hello to someone he had hugged before.
He was busy. He was on his phone.
He was an ass. And I have not cheered for him. I have not...
Well, there's nothing to cheer for. His playing days are over.
I wasn't thrilled when he made it in the Hall.
He got you a Super Bowl. And that's all you've ever wanted your entire life.
That's when I liked him. Last year, I did not like him. Before he went in the Hall.
866-RUN-0-FEZ. 866-RUN-0-FEZ. Can you beat Fez Whatley's
Rush with greatness.
I think you even have a better story, Fez. Because I went over in my mind if I have one of these stories and I don't. Because normally I don't walk up to celebrities and try to bother them. But your Jake Gyllenhaal story made me laugh.
Oh, it was a Sunday morning, people. Beautiful Sunday morning. The fall weather had started. I live in the West Village, and I'm going to run some errands. And as I'm walking through the West Village, I look through the window of this little cafe, and there's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's sitting there. He's got his arm around a girl. His booth is right next to a big picture window on the sidewalk. So I kind of lose my breath, and I'm going, there's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Who'd you say that to?
In my head. Jake Gyllenhaal looks up at me and just gives me the death stare. Just glaring at me through the window. And I'm still staring back at him. I'm trying to manage a smile, maybe a wink, and he's not even blinking. He's just looking at me like I have just ruined his wonderful West Village, New York City brunch.
But he was inside and you were outside, right?
Yeah.
And you just started peeking in the window at him?
That's a big window at this cafe, and he's got a table right next to it. Don't sit on the sidewalk if you don't want to be looked at, movie star Jake Gyllenhaal.
Here's Joe. Joe, what is your...
Rush with greatness.
What's your brush with greatness, Joe?
Oh, I was 14 years old, living in St. Louis, Missouri. Dad took me to drop me off for a Cardinals game. After the game, I was walking around downtown St. Louis, and there's a little blues club called Mississippi Nights. Heard some really cool guitar music coming out of there. Walked in, and it was Eric Clapton on stage by himself doing a sound check for a club show.
And that's it?
That was it.
He wasn't mean to you?
No, he saw me.
This isn't fucking brush with greatness. That's a nice thing. Brush with greatness is supposed to be the Fez Whatley style, where something fucking horrible happens to you.
And it scars you for life. You never forget that celebrity just destroying your day.
Let's go over here to a Bernardo on line 3. Bernardo, go ahead. How you doing, buddy?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, pal. What's your brush with greatness?
Oh, yeah, I was with Stuart Scott and Warren Sapp, actually, speaking of Fez. But I was at the Super Bowl NFL experience in New Orleans in, 2002, and he was playing catch with Stuart Scott, and he drops the ball, and it rolled right to my feet, and I got it, and I picked it up, and he gets all pissed off. Hey, throw me the ball back. You can't keep that. And I was like, dude, I wasn't going to keep your fucking ball. So I got it, and I threw it right back at him as hard as I could, and he dropped it again, and Warren Sapp started calling him a fuckface.
Here's Danny in San Diego.
Yo. Hey, I met Jordan when I was a little kid, just right before the first Olympics, Dream Team. Met him at Caesars, Lake Tahoe, during one of those celebrity golf classics. Mm-hmm. I waited an hour watching him play blackjack. He gets up, signs some lady's autograph. We follow him through the casino, wait for him out front, and supposedly the wrong limo was there. And while we're standing there, me and one other kid, along with all these other adults, asked him for his autograph. And he said, sorry, bud, not today. Asked him again, and then this big old bodyguard came and got in between us. He said, sorry, kid, not today. While I was wearing a Jordan hat, I had Jordan shoes on, and a Jordan shirt. My dad, to this day, hates his fucking guts.
They all had their paid muscle ready to move you right out of the green room or whatever.
Anthony, what's your brush with greatness?
When I was a little kid, I was really, really little, probably like 1971, Groucho Marx was in a restaurant. My dad wanted to get his autograph. I didn't know who he was. He was really old. He sent me over. I asked for his autograph. He backhanded me. He hit me.
I would have loved to have been there for that.
Not hard or anything, and I just start crying. I'm like 4 or 5 years old. I'm tiny, and he's just like, get away from me, and backhanded me.
That is fantastic. Jeff in California.
Hey, guys, my brush with greatness was skiing in Lake Tahoe when I was about 6 years old, coming over a little bunny hill and running in and crashing into Lauren Green from Battlestar Galactica. And he gets up and says, right in front of my dad, he goes, why don't you learn how to ski, you stupid fuck?
866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Here's Matt in Florida. Matt, brush with greatness.
Hey.
Go ahead, pal.
Hey, yeah, I went to an Andy Griffith Show reunion back in the early 90s, and Miss Crump hated my Led Zeppelin T-shirt, and when I shook her hand, she looked at me, gave me a nasty look, and wiped her hands off and told me to move on.
I'm proud of her. Carl in Vermont, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, I was working at a restaurant, and Neil deGrasse Tyson came in, and the guy was just a total jerk the whole night. He was wearing, like, a Yankees jersey in a fine dining establishment. He asked for better wine glasses, and he's mad about the corkage charge after bringing his own wine in. Just generally a jerk all around.
Sounds like you, my friend, are a racist. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. It's a brush with greatness. Shelby, do you have any of these type of stories?
I met Natasha Lyonne when she was in, and I was getting stuff like signed by her, and like she was signing it like right in front of me, like she could not have been standing more than like a foot, 2 feet from me. And I say like, "Oh, hey, I've been watching Orange Is the New Black. I got a few episodes left. I can't wait to see how this ends." And she just said to the publicist like, "So that was a pretty good interview. We got any more?" Like, just totally, like, I didn't say anything. Like, hello.
You have to remember something. You're a fucking intern at that point. Yeah. Jerry in North Carolina, what's your brush with greatness?
Yeah, mine's with Dennis Leary. I used to work for Auto Trader magazines, and I was delivering down in New Milford area. He lives in that area there. And I was in a convenience store, and the owner gives me a wink, and he shakes his head and says, look over there. And I look up. It's Dennis Leary. He's got his baseball cap on, sunglasses on. He's got his cell phone to his ear like he's talking to someone. And he walks over to the counter, and I go, "Hey, Dennis, man, great show. Really love you. I love all your work." He goes, "Yeah." And that was it. And that
seems like plenty. Jimmy in Kansas City, what's your brush with greatness?
Well, Mr. Reggie Jackson, the top prick of all times. Back when the year he retired, he was playing in his last game in Kansas City, and a friend of mine's a sports editor at the paper, so I asked him if he would take me out on the field, and so I could get Reggie's autograph, because I was always fascinated with Reggie, and everything I had was Reggie Jackson. Well, he was busy at the moment, which is fine. He comes out of the dugout before the pregame, and I'm standing right there with my friend with a hat for him to sign and a magic marker, and I said, "Mr. Jackson, may I have your autograph?" He looked over at me, spit sunflower seeds right in my face, and walked on. And that's all.
Mark in Connecticut, what's your brush with greatness?
Years ago, at a concert at Phil Maurice, Billy Russell was playing. Elton John was the opening act. And I used to collect whatever memorabilia I can get from rock concerts. I went up stage at the end of the concert. I sat relatively close to the stage, and Bill Graham was there talking to Leon Russell after a lot of people had left. And I asked him for the cup that Leon Russell was drinking from. He turned to me and said, "I suppose you want me to wipe the sweat off the stage as well." And it was really nasty. You know, dude, I was 17 years old at the time. It was just the nastiest fuck I ever met.
Bill Graham has talked that way to the biggest rock stars in history. You're part of history now. Don in Philly.
Hey, so we're at the Hamptons with some friends, and my kids are playing with some other guy's kids. The guy yells at his kids. I thought he was yelling at my kids. A little hungover. He says, "Leave the birds alone." So I get up, and I go, "Leave the birds alone. Fuck you." And then my wife just grabs my arm and goes, "That's Paul McCartney." So him and his family just get up, give us a dirty look, and walk away.
866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Looking for your brush with greatness. Here's Mike. Mike.
Ronnie B, I was about 8 or 9. My uncle used to get pretty good seats and a parking ticket at Yankee Stadium. And I'm leaving the game pretty late, and there's Steve Balboni by himself making his way to his car. So a 9-year-old me is running over to him. My dad gave me the balls to run up and ask him for an autograph, so I did, and of course he fucking denies me like a complete asshole. He should be so happy a 9-year-old kid wanted his autograph, that bum.
Here's Wade in Canada.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
I was I live a couple hours north of Toronto in a cottage country, and Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn were cottaging up here. And I seen him in a parking lot at a antiques sale. I come walking over with a piece of paper and a pen, and I said, "Mr. Kurt Douglas." And he looked at me, he went, "Fucking close," and walked away.
I would have been, you're 45 years away. At least 45 years between those two guys. Here's Ira in Wildwood.
Yo, Ronnie, I was playing craps with Patrick Ewing in Atlantic City about 7 years back, and I won him a bunch of money. I was hitting some numbers, so he was having a good time, signed a $100 bill and gave it to me. Later in the night, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, he's crapped out, broke, and, we're still having a good time. He starts to walk away, and his bodyguard guy, one of his guys in his crew, tries to snatch the 100 off the craps table and take it with him. I put it in my pocket and walked away. Great guy.
Here is Kind Bud in Georgia.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
I was up in Chicago at a meeting and walked through the lobby of a hotel, and I see Rick Pitino sitting in one of those overstuffed chairs, leather chairs, reading the newspaper, and I walk up and say, "Hey, Coach, good luck at the game tonight." And he just kind of gave me an eat shit look and shook his paper and looked back down and started reading it.
Here's Mark. Mark, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, guys. So my dad got these tickets and ordered for Yankee Stadium. We got to go in the dugout. We got autographs with all the players. Danny Tarbolt, Paul O'Neill. This is 93. I'm 10 years old. After every autograph, I'm getting a photo with everyone. Then Wade Boggs is coming along. I say, "Wade, can I please get your autograph?" I'm like half his size. And then sure enough, he says, "You know what? No." And he looks to our guy that was walking us around and said, "So you got to be fucking kidding me. You doing this all the time?" Walked away, did some more BP. He's an asshole. Don't like Wade Boggs.
Now he wants to set out to destroy. After just one thing, that's how people remember.
That's all it takes. It changed me on Jake Gyllenhaal and Warren Sapp both.
All right, some of these come up. All right, now, see if you would have a problem with this. A person was standing together for a picture and found out that it was video, and the celebrity went crazy when he found out it was video instead of a still picture. Would that bother you?
Would it bother me if I was a celebrity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because I think, I've seen little videos where they try to get over on people by they might even say something stupid.
It was Fez Whatley. Fez Whatley went crazy. Here's another one. After having a nice conversation with Bruce Valanche, an international radio personality, accused me of trying to seduce him.
He did. That did happen.
Here's one. I was at the homeless shopping event where I saw Fez get out of the bus. I wanted his autograph, and he shoved me out of the way and then entered the mall. I still have that shirt.
Yes, that's me. I shove a lot of people.
Why do you act angry no matter what side of this you're on? Whether it happened to you as the person that wanted the autograph, and for me, I think that Jake Gyllenhaal is where you went too far.
All I did was look through a restaurant window, a giant window.
I don't like to be called that either when I'm eating.
How I think Fez is gay is that he said he was on errands when...
You confuse gay with old.
Okay.
Here's Sean in Florida.
Hey, one time I was in Chicago and David Letterman was visiting Chicago, doing like a live thing from there, and I was standing outside of this old Chicago theater looking at a poster of the Late Show, and then some guy behind me goes, "Hey," he goes, "That's a pretty cool poster." And then I turn around, I go, "Yeah," I turn around, it's David Letterman was standing right there. And I went, "Oh my God, it's fucking David Letterman!" And I go, in total excitement, and I run to grab him, like to hug him, and he fucking shoved me and knocked me right on my ass. And I jumped out, I was like, "Dude, totally sorry, man. Totally sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know what happened." He was like, "It's okay, it's okay." But I still like David Letterman, though.
Here's Brandon in PA. Brandon, what's your brush with greatness? Your phone blows. Josh in Boston, what's your brush with greatness?
Okay, it's like Tom Wopat, Luke Duke from Duke's As.
You don't. First of all, you don't need to explain Tom Wopat in this room. We're with you.
I was like probably 7 years old, and I spent like all my money on his album because he was doing an autograph signing, and I don't even really like country music. Waited 2 hours to get his autograph. I was the next in line. He got up and walked away. Said he was only signed for 2 hours. I had a shitty album, like stuck with it.
See, people do not forget. They don't forget. No one is saying, "Oh, what a great guy. He signed for 2 hours." They're saying, "What a piece of shit. He didn't sign for 2 hours and 1 minute." Who can believe that there was a time in his life when Tom Wopat could sign albums for 2 fucking hours straight? 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. It's the brush with greatness. A time a celebrity let you down. Sometimes they get mad at you for talking to Bruce Valanche. Sometimes they get mad at you for videotaping. You never know when this celebrity is going to act like an asshole.
Sometimes it's legitimate reasons.
Dominic, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ron, this is Dominic. First-time caller, long-time listener. Met Mary Lou Retton in 1984, right after the Olympics, at a college fraternity party. Was dancing with her for a while before I realized who she was. Went up to give her a hug and say I enjoyed watching her in the Olympics. I guess she thought I was going to molest her, so she punched me in the chest and ran away.
Here is Thomas. You're on the Ron and Fez show.
Yeah, I was waiting outside at a Colts concert one time. All the Colts came out except for Ian Asbury. He came out 2.5 hours later. We were in freezing cold rain. He said he'd be right back. As he climbed on the bus, he told the bus driver to get him the fuck out of here, and just drove off.
866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Here's Casey in New York.
Hi, I met Pepper Hicks, and he was a bad friend.
Pepper, I think that you're a good friend to everyone, aren't you? Or do you consider yourself a good friend?
I'm a good friend.
Do you consider him a good friend, Fez Steele?
Yeah, I consider him a good friend to me.
See, I don't. I mean, I'm glad you two are close. I've just never liked him for it. I've never been a fan of that guy. How about you?
I just consider us like, acquaintances.
At best.
Yeah.
Like ships passing in the night. I'll tell you this. Here's the way to test him. Leave your wallet sitting out one day.
Oh, God, no.
Put a string on it.
Might have a
yank
bite
it when
taken
that
out
fucker,
of it.
Yeah. Just yank it. It's like trolling for fucking walleye with him. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. It is the Ron and Fez show. Pepper, I want to bring your attention to this. Mark says he has sent us a box of fruit from his grove in Florida, and it should be here tomorrow. Hope we like it.
It's exciting.
Mark also said that he was riding a bike in New York and hit Bob Simon from 60 Minutes. It was all his fault, and Bob told him so. Let's go over here to Reg in Ohio. Hey, Reg.
Hey, what's going on today?
My brush with fame was hungover in Milwaukee at the Summerfest. My buddies and I in an elevator, waiting for the elevator to come up, and we're not looking too good. And waltzes up is John and Whistle from The Who. So we get in the elevator with this guy. I'm like, holy shit, it's a dude from The Who. So it's 9 a.m., so I turn to him and I say, hey, Mr. and Whistle, do you mind having a beer with us right now? And he looked at me like I was a fucking moron, and that was it.
Finally, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, I was on the Couch of Zilches with Opie and Anthony. Sam was awesome to me, let me hang out for the shit show afterwards. And when I was leaving the studio, being escorted out, I walked past Fez. I recognized him. Said, "Oh my God, look, Fez!" And he went, "Not today, thank you." As he stormed past me.
Fez. Dusty in Arizona.
Hey, I was about 11 years old. Star Wars was my first and favorite movie I ever saw. My uncle was a contractor in Jackson, Wyoming, doing a renovation for Harrison Ford, and he brought me along to get an autograph. And I went up to Harrison Ford and asked him for an autograph. He said, "I'll tell you what, kid, if your uncle can stop overcharging me for labor, I'll give you an autograph." And that was the end of it.
Here's John in California.
Yeah, in '74, Steve McQueen and Clint Eastwood were standing on a hotel balcony, and we were kids, and we started shouting at them because, like, hey, look at them! And they're, like, getting all pissed off at us and shouting at us and get the hell out of here and all that kind of stuff.
Here is Jake. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Ronnie. Drunk drive home from Atlantic City to Philadelphia, about 3 a.m., stop at one of the rest stops. My brother, my friend, and I are in there using the facilities. Dr. J comes in. I pointed out to my brother. He gets so excited that he turns, grabs Dr. J, and goes, "Oh, my God, you're Dr. J," the whole time peeing down his leg.
Oh, Jesus.
And if he would sign a basketball. And Dr. J said, "Man, you just peed down my leg." And he's like, "Are you really not going to sign it for me? I'm your biggest fan." And he just turned around and left. And my brother has hated Dr. J from that moment on because he doesn't remember peeing on him. He just remembers he wouldn't sign a basketball. And I hope he's listening.
Here's Holly, our friend in Seattle. How you doing, Holly?
Hey, I'm doing good today.
Yeah.
My most memorable brush with greatness, I guess you would say, my friend worked at a skating rink. She taught figure skating, and it was Mary Lemieux's brother that owned the rink, so we used to hang out with the Penguins. And one night we were at the bar with all the Penguins hanging out, and Yarmer Yager was hitting on my girlfriend, and Marty Straka was there. And we were leaving, and as we were leaving, they followed us out, and we were pulling out of the parking spot, and Yarmer Yager comes flying out of nowhere and does a spread eagle on the hood of the car, and Marty Straka comes and tries opening my door and trying to pull me out the side of the window of the car.
I can't blame him. If I'm being totally honest here, I mean, you did at one point seem like you wanted it and then said no.
It was scary, though, because we didn't see them following us, and they just came out of nowhere, and we thought we were, they were some creepy people, and we looked at them and we're like, oh, my God, it's Yarmer Yager.
But here's the thing, Holly, and you have to remember this. In Canada, they don't have a word for rape. So every country is kind of different, and they're more on, like, caveman sex days.
Yeah, you have a point there.
Okay, sweetie. Nice to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Our good friend, Holly in Seattle. She does a big podcast with Rorschach that all the kids love. 866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here's Ralph in Maryland. You're on the Ron and Fez show.
Ronnie, I'm staying in a hotel in Boston, right? And I'm waiting to get on the elevator. So the elevator opens up, and it's Robert Palmer and his entourage. I go to step onto the elevator, and they close the elevator door in my face.
You should have just started singing, you might as well face it, you're a dick in a box. Might as well face it, you're a dick in a box. 866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here's Doug. Doug, you're on the Ron Fez show.
Hey, Ron, some of these are absolutely fantastic. I met Crispin Glover here in Minneapolis about 20 years ago. He was touring with a book he wrote. I think it was called Oakmont, which I believe he just kind of crossed out words and made a different story. It was the weirdest fucking thing I ever heard or saw.
Well, if you paid $20 extra, you could meet him after and he'd sign your book. Anyways, I have him sign my book. Hey, I'll bring my cat if you bring the watermelons. And then I asked him how he was like in Minneapolis, and without even looking up or even acknowledging me, he points over my shoulder. He says, your museums in this city are shit, and he waves his finger like next. He's a fucking asshole.
How furious people stay for life. Here's Mark. Mark, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, yeah, at the NASCAR race, I had garage passes. So before the race, almost every driver you go up to their signing, I had the program. Ryan Newman comes walking out. I go up, hey, Ryan, can I get an autograph? Wouldn't even look at me. Other people wouldn't even look at, and his publicist just said, get away from him. Like, what a dick.
866 Ron Zero Fez talking about the brush with greatness.
Brush with greatness.
Hey, Candyman, how you doing, pal?
Hey guys, I was at a tennis tournament with Candy Girl, and Venus Williams came out of the players' lounge. My daughter loved her. She tried to get her to come over. She turned them like she was coming over, and then she did the fake by us. And my daughter turned to me and said, I can't stand her. I hate her. She sucks. And just to watch the little girl's heartbroken, I guess, was priceless. So now she's, every time, she had a great day. That's all she remembers is Venus Williams snubbing her.
Here's Joe in Chicago.
Hey, buddies. Yeah, I was took my lady to a Trailer Park Boys show here in Chicago. Waited after the show. I don't ask for autographs. These guys are cool as fuck, so I stuck around. Rob Wells, who plays Ricky, and the fellow who plays Julian, cool as hell. I asked the Bubbles guy for his autograph. My bird was with me. Called me a faggot right in front of her. Definitely suffering from a Napoleon complex.
Very classy of him.
Here's Ted in Maryland. What's your brush with greatness?
Hey, Ron, I actually told this when you were back on JFK, but Andy Dick slapped me in the face once.
With his cock?
We were at this party out in L.A. with my high school a cappella group. We were singing, and here's Ted in Maryland. What's your brush?
Oh, you panicked and hung up. Dawn in Montana. Go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, I'm Dawn. My brush with greatness is I got in front of Jeff Dunham, the bad ventriloquist, and he told me to get the fuck out of his way or he'd have me arrested.
Now, why were you standing in front of him?
Because I'm a really big fan, and I was trying to...
You just said he's a bad ventriloquist, and now you're a really big fan. Which is it?
Well, the reason I went to the show is to just boo him.
You're talking crazy now. So then you went up and started hassling him, and you had to say, get the fuck out of my way? She panicked.
She was actually trying to try the puppet on and just open up his case. This was entirely justified.
I think she wanted to climb on his fist like she was his puppet. Scott in Tennessee.
Hey, you remember the 80s hair band Rat?
Remember? Of course I do.
Round and round.
I met the blonde-haired guitar player. I saw him go in the bathroom at a hotel, so I went in there just to, I don't know why I did. I just went there to say hello. He told me to fuck off, and he kicked my ass, and then he ended up dying of AIDS, so karma.
It isn't karma. Someone telling you to fuck off and then later catching AIDS is not karma. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Joey, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Yo, what's up, buddies? 1998, business convention, San Francisco. I'm in a tuxedo. It's a big to-do. And I go upstairs to the room, get back to come on the elevator. Bob Weir and Mickey Hart are in the elevator. And my wife's with me. I backpacked the country with the Dead for like 3 or 4 years, so it's a big freaking deal. So I'm telling them how awesome it is. Sorry, Jerry passed, blah, blah, blah. Bob says, why don't you come to the show? I said, well, look at me. I'm in a tux. He's like, so what? It's New Year's. It'll be perfect. He goes, I'll put you on the list. You just got to come down to the Warfield. Takes down my name. He's with Mickey Hart. He's holding his daughter. He's like 2 years old. His wife and him take my name down. I'm on the list. My wife and I obviously bail from the business convention to go to the show. Get there. I'm not on the list. Now try to explain to the people that Bob Weir just saw me in the elevator, and I'm supposed to be able to get in here. So basically blew my whole night.
I don't know where even to go with that, because if I had a tuxedo on, I would not approach guys from the dead. Here's our buddy Chef Darren. How you doing, Chef?
Hey guys, how are you doing? I got a story about Billy Joel.
Great.
I was waiting on him in a country club out on the North Shore of Long Island. We closed the entire deck for him. I took care of him personally. At the end of his meal, after ordering thousands of dollars in wine, eating lobster, you name it, I drop the check. I pick it up. Before I take it away, he grabs my hand and says, the other 10% was the honor of waiting on me. He left me a 5% tip. I turned to him and said, and that is why I download all your music illegally.
Wow. But you got to remember, he hasn't, made an album in 20 years. You know what I mean?
This one was 1997, 98.
Maybe things have been rough,
Maybe.
All right, thanks, pal. 866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here's our pal Rorschach.
Hey, guys. Hearing Holly just reminded me, I met Gene Roddenberry once in Florida during spring break, and I think it was about 1989, just like a few years before he died. Me and my friend that I went to spring break with, and he brought his girlfriend along. And we had gone to this fancy restaurant, and I went in there, and the table right next to us, there was Majel Barrett, which is his wife, and I said, oh my God, that girl looks just like Majel Barrett. And of course, they didn't know who the hell I was talking about. And there was this man with his back to me, and he had on this leather jacket that had a bunch of Star Trek stuff on it. And I leaned over, and and it was Gene Roddenberry. And he, they were all eating, and there was another man there. And I got up, and I went over to the table, and he had this fatty ribeye and a thing of whiskey. And I went over to him and I said, excuse me, Mr. Roddenberry, can I have your autograph, please? And he turned to me and he goes, with a mouthful of food, he goes, I'm eating!
That's classic.
And I just went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I went back and Majel just looked embarrassed. She mouthed at me, I'm sorry. So that was my breath of greatness.
Rorschach, tell everybody where you and Holly do your podcast.
It's on More Like Radio on Saturdays at noon, live.
Saturdays at noon live?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, pal.
Okay, guys.
Peace. Here's Darren in Canada.
Hey, guys. I used to work this great little bar in Vancouver, and I was sitting around with a buddy playing some pool, just waiting for my shift to start, when this little skinny blonde guy kind of came sashaying by us. He had a fitted little turtleneck on, with his blonde hair feathered over top of it and tight little pants. And just as my buddy looked up and he says, look at this fucking fag, it turned around and it was Wayne Gretzky.
Jesus.
He was a god. That was 20 years. Had to have been 20. It was when he was playing for St. Louis. He's still a god in Canada, right? But 20 years ago, I couldn't believe he.
I saw him once on the street in New York, and I'm not even a hockey fan, and it was like something fake walked by me. You know what I mean? It was like if a fucking unicorn. If you just saw a unicorn at dawn, you would have like, what? Like, it was weird for me to think. There is Wayne Gretzky walking down the street. And I'm saying that as someone who's not a hockey player. Not even at all. All right, I forgot this story. When I used to have my comedy club, the show was already over, and a couple of us were just sitting at the bar. And who's the famous fucking comedian, the famous magician who... makes giant things disappear.
David Copperfield.
All right, that's who it is. So David Copperfield walks in, and he's got two guys with him wearing silver jackets, right? And he opens up the door, and he stands there, and the two guys in the silver jackets are standing next to him each side. They turn around like they're looking at the wall, and on the back of their jackets, it says, The David Copperfield Show. So he's just standing in between two fucking things. And I'm sitting with these comics, and they start to yell shit like, hey, we don't come to the circus after your fucking show. And they kind of fucking just walked them. But how weird that these dudes always have to be ready to let... And I'm like, I need 2 fucking dudes with my name on it. Home of the Ron Bennington Cupcake.
Did they probably rehearsed that like a bunch of
I'm
times?
sure it happened. I'm sure it was happening fucking 50 times a day. Here's Jeff. You're on the Ron and Fez show.
Yeah, 2 years ago I was powerlifting at a competition called the Arnold Classic, and me and a couple of buddies that had flew to Columbus to compete in this competition. The night before we saw Lou Ferrigno, and we'd always been a fan of Ferrigno, so we walked up to him. He had this entourage around him. No one else. The convention hadn't started yet, so we asked for an autograph, and he kind of gave us a go-to-hell look, and his entourage said, you come back here tomorrow, and we'll be here, and we'll do that for you. And so we competed, came back to the same spot the next day, and he was signing autographs for $20 a pop. And every time he would shake a hand and sign an autograph, he had a container of Germex that he would pump into his hands and clean his hands off after he had signed an autograph for somebody and shook their hand. Just a real dick.
Mark. Go ahead, Mark. How are you? What's your brush with greatness?
Dennis Leary and Conan O'Brien were having lunch together, and I was waiting on them and went up to them after they were done, and I said, can I get you guys anything else? And Dennis Leary goes, you could probably get us a lot of things, so why don't you start with the check? And the two of them laughed like it was the fucking funniest thing ever heard as I walked away in shame.
We got him. But you got to remember, they're from Boston. So that's like good-natured ribbing there. 866-RON-0-FEZ. 866-RON-0-FEZ. Here's my pal, Mikey D.
Hey, Ron.
Hey.
I'm performing on the Ed Sullivan Show. Liza Minnelli is performing also. And she's with a band. She's not by herself at this point. She's like the beginning of her career. But I know she's Judy Garland's daughter.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, let me take a picture, and all that. She's saying, she's brushing me off, but she's saying, we'll take a picture later, whatever. So it comes down to right after rehearsal. The band comes over, takes a picture with me. They go to get Liza. She goes, no, I don't want to take a picture. So we performed. Afterwards, she comes on over, and she says, okay, I'll take a picture now. Mind you, I'm like 6, 7 years old. I go, forget it, and I walk away.
So you were mean to Liza Minnelli?
I was. Then I saw her again in 1978 at the Tony Awards.
And how'd that go?
I just brushed her off again.
Sweet.
Still haven't gotten the picture.
One time when we worked on 57th Street, we were coming back in. I think we were going to all, hang out together during the playoffs. So we came in on a Sunday. We were going to do like an hour on the air and then watch the playoff games on all the TVs and have a party there. So I remember I went out, had a cigar, and when I came back up, everybody that was there was just standing looking at me coming in, and everyone had like really big eyes. And I'm just looking, I'm like, this is weird. And they all start tilting their head to the left. And Liza Minnelli was standing there, and she had Dave's kid, his new toddler, was his little girl.
Juliana.
Yes, Fez, Juliana, obviously. I'm trying to fucking protect her from stalkers. And she's just like in love with Juliana and won't, give her back. She's just loving her. And everyone is sitting around stunned as if Dorothy's daughter just appeared, right? She'd been there to do something on the Sinatra station and was just standing in the middle of all my friends playing with Dave's daughter. And Dave was trying to get his daughter back. And he's like, Miss Minnelli, we're going to go live in just a couple of minutes. We're going to be on the air. And she's looking at the little girl.
Juliana.
I already said that, Fez. And she's going like this. Do you hear that, baby? We're going live. Everyone's going to be going live now. Live on the air. And I swear to God, we were fucking blown away. It was the weirdest thing that you can imagine. I mean, like Warhol painted her picture, and she just is decided that Dave's kid is her best friend.
Juliana.
All right, now you're just trying to be a pain in my balls, aren't you? You're trying to be a one beat behind the obvious joke, pain in my balls. Here is Peter. Peter in D.C., you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, buddies. How y'all doing?
Yeah.
All right. I'm walking into Union Station. I don't realize that they're filming a movie, and I'm trying to figure out what movie they're filming, and it happens to be Hannibal. And I just stumbled upon the movie set, and I'm actually reading the book at that moment.
I remember the scene.
Yeah, exactly, with the carousel inside.
Yeah.
I go up to the second floor to just kind of watch the filmmaking. Next thing I know, I'm standing next to Anthony Hopkins. I pull out my book and said, I would love an autograph. He did not even acknowledge me. He just shook his head and turned his back to me. Bastard.
Because he was probably in character. He
was in that outfit.
Yeah, he probably was ready to shoot, had his whole shit down, and then someone's just standing in front of him.
You're lucky you didn't get bit.
Well, I love these stories. We'll have to do this again sometimes. We got to take a break here. Chris Stanley, who's on the phones for us now?
Oh, Mari's still on the phones. He stayed.
Oh, he did stay. What